Hello my friends and welcome. We have some of the updates from the front lines, but for those we're gonna use the International Institute of the War Research's map, because for today it is more up-to-date compared to the deep state military map. So let's go to Staromayorsk that was liberated by Ukrainian army yesterday. According to the information coming from the front lines, Urozhaina is almost encircled by Ukrainian army. So I think that Russians are unable to hold this village for quite a long time. The next strike from Ukrainian side could be over here. In that case, we're gonna trap Russians between the river and our forces. But still Russia may use the single road to evacuate from the Urozhaina village, because they're still controlling it, but the front line is very close, so Ukrainian army may strike the retreating Russian forces. Well, actually, compared to the deep state military map, here Ukraine took more ground. Well, deep state update was 2 days ago, so hopefully this is the actual information coming from the front lines. Because this resource also analyzes the information coming from the front lines based on the videos, on photos, on everything. So the next big step for Ukraine would be to take Staromalinivka under control. To do that, Ukrainian army needs to cross a couple of rivers in that area. It's not easy to do, so this river plays a great geographic role, plus it is also the natural obstacle that secures this city actually. To be more correct, secures it under the Russian control, because Russia is now in defense, and here you can see it's like a castle surrounded by the trench. Plus Russia put their extra forces in that particular small town, and the next step for Ukrainian army is to penetrate the main defense line, and the next one is to go to Azov Sea. Here you can see also many of the rivers in this area hard to go through. Nevertheless, our intelligence chief Budanov says that Ukrainian army will soon go to Crimea. I would say that it is a very optimistic scenario. Maybe he knows something that we don't know, and Ukraine still hasn't used its main reserves. Let's go to Orikhiv area, where Ukraine got success taking the ground, but unfortunately, my friends, we lost quite a lot of vehicles and infantrymen trying to get more ground in this area. Actually, somewhere in this area there was the trap organized by the Russian forces. Our BTRs went under the heavy artillery fire and we lost many. I'm unable to show you the full video on this platform. For that, please check out my Telegram channel. So there were several of the vehicles that were totally demolished by the Russian artillery. Some of the vehicles were just damaged, and in the future hopefully we're gonna evacuate them from the front lines, but the main important thing are the human lives, and unfortunately we had losses over there. So this was the mistake of the planning by the Ukrainian command that was responsible for this particular operation. Definitely our guys were just trapped, and you see, war is not only about the wins, usually have many losses as well. Let's go to the Bakhmut area, where Ukraine got success in Klishivka, in Andriivka, and also in Kurdimivka. You can see our guys are at the border of Kurdimivka village, also at the border of Andriivka, and partially we took Klishivka village under control. The fight is ongoing there just in the village, and here you can see also the natural obstacle, the river, but it seems like Ukraine has already crossed it. According to the drone videos, Ukraine still continue to use artillery systems, mortars, and everything on a long distance, hesitating to send more infantry to Klishivka village itself, because in that case we would obviously have many more losses. So the tactics right now is to remotely demolish the Russian positions. And it seems like we have the artillery shells for that. The northern part is not that successful compared to the south. Here Ukrainian army already stuck for almost 1 month without any further movement. Well, I guess 2 weeks ago our guys moved a little towards this place. However, it wasn't something that changed the situation in this area. Still, Bakhmut is far to be encircled. In Kherson direction, everything more or less stable. Ukraine took this part of the territory, but not moving towards Arleshki. And based on the videos that are coming, our guys are working using artillery and drones in Aleshki itself, demolishing the Russian positions. We also have the positive video for Ukrainian side, obviously. The Russian vehicles that were kaput in Staromayorsky. Ukrainian army liberated that area, demolishing many of the Russian tanks, their infantry, and many other things. So again, at this stage of war, we have some certain balance, I would say. Yes, Ukrainian army has the initiative because we're attacking side right now. On the south and on the east, Russia tried to attack. Yes, they took some of the ground, but their major attempt to get Borova under control was stopped by the Ukrainian defenders. But speaking in general, I would say some sort of the balance does exist right now. Neither of the side is capable for the fast offensive operations right now. But just remember the summer last year, Ukraine was losing the ground and no one was speaking about some sort of the balance. So the next year I do expect that Ukraine will have advantage over the Russian army. Unfortunately, I estimate this conflict to be long-lasting for several more years. You see, it's not that scale of war. We're facing the biggest war since the World War II. How did Allies win the World War II? Simply by producing more stuff, more artillery shells, more everything. Germans had a very nice weaponry, probably the best tanks and the best airplanes. I'm speaking about the first jet planes, but all of that sophisticated stuff is useless against the large numbers of the simple weaponry. That's why our allies are insisting that Ukraine should have more artillery shells rather than the fighter jets. I think fighter jets are also very important, and those will be delivered at the beginning of the next year. I bid actually for December, but I could be wrong. So as you can see, Russians didn't try to leave Staromayorsky. Yes, the part of their forces ran away, but also they had dramatic losses there as well. Russia claims that they've shot down the Ukrainian S-200 missile over Taganrog city. Unfortunately, a rocket went into the residential building. But as I say to you, Russia admitted that they've shot down that missile. So how Russia says to Ukrainian side, do not shut down our missiles, they will not target civilians. But actually there is the evidence that Russia targeted the civilian infrastructure deliberately, including the residential buildings. Why Russia says it is the S-200 missile? Because they found those shrapnel debris, which are mostly used for the air defense systems rockets. So after a few hours, Russia launched the attack on the Dnipro city and they hit the residential building. Luckily, no one lives out there because it's the brand new building and it's not yet in operation. Unfortunately, some of the builders who were on duty got wounds. But from what I understood, everyone is alive. Russia also targeted the SBU office in Dnipro city. SBU is the Ukrainian analog of the American FBI. Just for you to understand, and this particular building was empty since the beginning of the war. All of the personnel went to the other city, to Kyiv, because it's very risky for them to stay not far away from the front lines. Today there was one more big kaboom in Donetsk, the self-proclaimed DPR. Kaboom happened in the main police headquarters of DPR. A very interesting video from the dash cam, and it's available on my Telegram channel only, my friends. Sorry, I cannot show you the full video over here. Here we have the actual information how the Russian attack near to Novaya Horivka was repelled. So we have another resource and the timeline. It was the day before yesterday and it is today. Again, day before yesterday, it is today. Well, actually not today, but also yesterday. We're just waiting for the new update of this part. The main defense line of Ukrainian army is over here, so Russia is still unable to reach it. However, you know, it is a war. Russia concentrated quite a lot of forces in that region, around 100,000 soldiers, so they may actually penetrate the Ukrainian defense lines. Some of the pro-Russian channels say that they are going to Borovaya, but no, that attack for now was repelled, and it is the good news. The International Atomic Agency registered explosions on the territory of the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant. So far, we are in lack of details of what happened there. but the agency reassured that the reactor buildings are fine. There is the audio that I also shared on my Telegram channel, the communication between the vessel and the Russian military Black Sea Fleet. The Russian military ship said to this vessel through the radio not to continue its trip to Ukrainian ports. Otherwise, they may use the military force against the civilian vessel that they think transports the military cargo to Ukraine. A decade ago, there was the problem with Somalian pirates, and now there is the problem with the Russian pirates. The United States of America has approved the record military budget, almost $1 trillion. Well, to be correct, around $900 billion. That's a lot. The part of that will also go to support the Ukrainian military, but not more than 2%. The British Defense Ministry thinks that the counterattack of Ukrainian army goes according to the plan. Yes, it's slower than expected, but still Ukraine will get the main goal. Well, it is awesome sometimes to read those articles from the mainstream media, because after they saw the burning Leopard tanks, they all start to write that Ukrainian counteroffensive failed. The Leopards are not some sort of the magical vehicles, they also could be destroyed and damaged by very simple weaponry actually. For example, the FPV drone that carries the thermobarrel shell, if it hits the proper place in Leopard, it may disable it. So it is a full-scale war. The weaponry got more powerful, more devastating. Yes, tanks are still important, but they do not play that great role as they played during the Second World War. Again, we have the report from the United States intelligence that China continued to supply the tech equipment to Russia, which is more important, chips. Those are the bad news, and I think the China companies should be put under the sanctions for that. Otherwise, it will take a very long time to overweight what China supplies to Russia. Because as I say to you, this scale of war, this big one, is the war about resources. The side that gets more resources will win. Great news for our athlete Olga Harlan. The disqualification ban was lifted, so she may proceed with competition. If you do not understand what I am talking about, please watch my previous video. Olga, congratulations, many more victories for you. My friends, I'm gonna keep you updated on situation in Ukraine. Don't forget to press the like to this video, and also if you want to support my channel, there will be some of the links available in the video description just below. Special thanks for my Patreon supporters and supporters on the sponsorship of my YouTube channel. Thank you for your awesome help. My friends, I wish you all a peaceful sky wherever you are, and have a great time.